EM, the Efficient Manufacturing Magazine, which is a leading trade magazine in India on efficient manufacturing. Today we have with us Mr. Suresh KV, President and Head of Region India for ZF. Mr. Suresh KV is responsible for the governance and overall growth of businesses of ZF India. So welcome, Mr. KV.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for this opportunity. It's great to get in touch with you and also have an interaction with you.
Yes, the pleasure is ours. So, Mr. KV, I would like to put my first question to you. That you spoke like about the pandemic and how you would want the other industries and how you would want the world to gain experience from to gain a knowledge and gain wisdom out of ZS experience of the COVID-19 pandemic. So similarly, how has this worked out for you? How has ZF continued to learn today from global experiences and other regions in order to grow through the pandemic?
Yeah, thanks, Jolie. This is a very interesting question. And I think if you look at the last 1 year, now we have to talk about the last 1 year, given that the pandemic has sort of come back in the last 2-3 months. Right from February 2020, we have been doing this learning experience between the different ZF entities. As you are aware, the pandemic broke out in China, and then early last year, and when I talk about early, I'm talking about January, February, we started talking about learning from what happened in China. What are the precautions? What are the precautions which were taken to ensure that it is not spreading in the ZF locations in China? And the same thing got implemented in India as well. We continued this through the months of September, through the months of March, April, May, and June. In the meanwhile, what we did was we started doing the same connections with our other organizations in Europe and in the US. And there is a single point of contact in every region, and she in turn is in touch with all the coordinators of the various regions and make sure that the data is being shared in terms of all the new developments related to the spread of COVID. We didn't stop there. In India, what we did was we started learning from each other, not only the ZF locations, but also our JV locations. So we started getting in touch with the team. So we created a team there so that we didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Last but not the least, thanks to the WhatsApp groups and the social media, there was something in the Chakan group itself, and there was a lot of information which was shared through ACMA, through VDMA, and also the industries in Chakan to understand as to what are the regulations coming in, what are the do's and don'ts. And today, as we speak, when the new curfew rules are coming out, this sharing is becoming very, very important because the message reaches us and the doubts are being cleared on an online basis and actually on a real-time basis. So in short, I would say ZF has taken part in sharing data, not only from other countries, but also ensuring that we are mutually exchanging data with our JV partners, with other industries, like-minded organizations. And I'm also personally in touch with the heads of other organizations to understand as to what are they doing, how are they approaching the issues, and what is the future, and what are the various steps, or what are the things which they see as the ones which are coming out for the next few weeks or months.
I think that's an excellent way to approach growth in the pandemic. And I think that's something every company should follow. That is to look at other people's growth, what they are doing, and implement it in our own organization. So, coming to my next question, could you tell us how you have guided your customers in understanding the changing demand through the pandemic? So, once we enter the post-pandemic world, how do you plan on making them most aware so that they can see value in your products?
You see, the products which we are in are more in the automotive space and in the industrial space. So it is not really related to the pandemic because it's not in the medical field or related fields, or even in the food or in fields which are directly impacted with the pandemic. However, when the industry goes through a cycle of ups and downs, we also go through the same. So what we have done, and last year it came as a surprise, or we were not really prepared for such a lockdown or a shutdown or a sudden change in a big change in the normal, and hence we were all looking at what are the possibilities in front of us, how do we handle this. But we have learned a lot from the last year. So this year, let me tell you, the biggest example is when 2 days back in Maharashtra, it was announced that tomorrow onwards there will be a shutdown. Immediately, within 24 hours, we were able to get our act together, understand as to what did we learn, what are the things which we missed last year. Like, for example, talking to all our employees, asking them whether they will go back home or will they remain here, and giving them the comfort that we will take care of them just in case there is a lockdown or a shutdown which is coming up. And also making sure that their contact details are with us, and also talking to the customers in terms of how they are doing, looking at how the factories of our customers are operating, making sure that we exchange views in terms of how each area is going to react. You see, another aspect which we did not really handle well last year was we didn't know that every region or every area, be it Kolhapur, the Nasik side, Aurangabad, Pune, for example, if you take Maharashtra, the lockdowns and the restrictions were different, slightly different from each other, and each of these regions did take some steps on their own, and we have to be careful, because it doesn't mean that if in Pune everything is working, in Nasik everything need to be working. So we started looking at which regions, how each region is operating, and started being transparent with the customers. So in terms of processes, I would say that we were more vigilant to understand as to which region is going through a severe one, which region is a bit relaxed. How do we ensure that our people are there in those relevant regions to ensure, to understand as to how they are operating, make sure that the suppliers are also supported with the knowledge base which we have, and with the customers having very, very transparent communication in terms of what is available with us, are we operating. If you look all the if you talk to all the customers, you will clearly understand that we have been keeping them informed as to how we are operating, what is our operating pattern, what is it that we are doing, which are the areas where we are critical, and in which areas we are comfortable. So it's a strong communication channel which we have kept open with customers and also with all business partners.
That's it. I think that's the key, that communication has to be open in every aspect, which is how you're led to growth, and you're led to solving any kind of issue that is faced.
Exactly.
So I'll come to my next question, that you once said that the supply chain risk should be reduced for a healthier future. So what is your advice on achieving that and not being dependent on one region alone? That is first part of my question. And the second part of my question is that what are the weak links in global supply chains that COVID-19 has exposed to us?
So let me take the first question first. You had mentioned that I had mentioned that we have to be dependent, or we have to be more and more focused on local supply chains. We should not be dependent on one region alone. This is actually in a different way how to ensure that we are not. There was a risk prevention mechanism as well in a particular region. If you are dependent on a particular region and that region goes through some difficult times, you immediately have disruptions in your supply chain, which in turn leads to disruptions in your manufacturing and of course the business. So what is important for us is to minimize the risk. That doesn't mean that we spread ourselves thin by sourcing from different regions altogether, but we need to have a healthy combination. So I think riding on the fact that the Make in India and the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives, it is important that we have the majority of the supply chain locally, and this is applicable not only for India but for all the regions. But however, It is not easy to do it in overnight, because there are technology related aspects, there are process related aspects, there are tooling related aspects. So we need to start working on this in such a way that we have a healthy combination of partnerships with business partners who are the best in the world, but however with a medium term view that we should be more and more dependent on the local supply chain. Coming to the criticality or the weak links which happened, which were thrown open by the COVID pandemic, it is obvious that we found it that logistics and transportation became the biggest bottleneck. Want of containers and the lead times increasing when we were importing material, and also as I said before, depending on the severity and the conditions of shutdown/lockdown in different areas, it became very important that we need to be more and more less and less dependent on vendors, business partners who were far away. However, it's easier said than done to say that everybody should be close by. So again, it comes to the old situation or the old saying, whether old parameters like, should we keep higher inventories or should we be ensuring that it is just-in-time supplies? I think that also comes back saying that we need a healthy combination of the both to ensure that we are not any supply chain disruptions in terms of logistics doesn't affect your business plans. Whenever there is an reopening of the lockdown, how fast can we open and how can we ensure that we are able to get back to rails pretty soon? These are the things. So if you look at it overall, I think flexibility still plays a major role in making sure that the business is capable of running in all times. And I would rather say that it was the supply chain disruptions which topped the list as far as the difficulties were concerned in the last 1 year.
I completely agree, because I really believe that being agile is so important. It's so important to be able to balance and to be flexible and be flexible. Basically, I think that is so important, not just for the supply chain but for every aspect of the industry. Is what which I completely agree with you on. So I'll come to my next question now.
One more thing, Julie. As you mentioned, agility doesn't mean that you look at transportation alone. Another important aspect is how flexible are you in your own manufacturing processes. You know that we all face this issue of our workforce. Migrant workforce going back to their locations, and suddenly we saw that the skill level in the plant dropped significantly. That actually raises another important question as to how dependent are we on the skill of the people. Now, how can we make ourselves lesser and lesser dependent on the skill of a person is also another aspect. So we should be, when I talk about flexibility, I'm also talking about making sure that we are flexible in terms of all resources, man, machine, material, and methods, so that you are able to get back to normalcy pretty soon in case there is a disruption.
Correct. That makes sense. Now, I would like to talk about climate change. So, climate change is a very like in topic right now. People are talking about it and about and what role the manufacturing industry can play in it. So, can you tell us what are the key ingredients that promise real progress on climate change in the manufacturing industry?
Can you repeat somewhere? There was disruption in your question.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so my question is that with big talks and with very intense talks about climate change today, my question is that what are the key ingredients to make real progress on climate change in the manufacturing industry?
You see, we know that the resources which we use are always a constraint. That's limited number of resources, and we need to ensure that all the sustainability factor in any organization has to be given priority. If you take ZF, we have taken this as one of the major steps, not only at the local level, but at the corporate level as well. There is a very senior official who is just looking at sustainability, and he has been appointed to ensure that the entire organization is working towards sustainability in the next few years. Now, coming locally, you see, simple aspects like how can we ensure that we are on renewable sources as far as power is concerned? How can we ensure that we minimize the wastages when it comes to any operations per se? Reduction of oil consumption, reduction of power consumption per unit manufactured. Then making sure that we are not wasting any of these resources at any point in time. So I think coming back to the old saying that we need to minimize wastages across all resources being used. I can only say that as far as ZF India is concerned, or ZF in India is concerned, all our entities are working very heavily, or are working to ensure that we are more and more utilizing the solar power for usage within the factories. If you take Pune, for example, we have our majority of the requirements coming from the solar panels which are there above the factory and also in the plant. Similarly, Coimbatore has also gone through a similar exercise, and it is being installed now. So many of all factories are really looking at the various possibilities to ensure that the natural resources are not wasted and are used in a very minimal manner. Again, creating greenery in and around the plants, making sure that we are supporting all the CSR through CSR, the various initiatives to ensure that the greenery is being protected in the nature. Coimbatore has taken a lot of initiatives to plant saplings in the city, in conjunction with one of the NGOs there. So there are a lot of initiatives which we take, not only in the plant and in our facilities. When I say plant, means I'm not the production facility alone, even the offices we have, but we also look at how to support the society at large by increasing greenery and reducing power consumption and all the other related factors.
So two elements where ZF India plays a role in addressing climate and biodiversity risks in the supply chains and operations is by planting the saplings and also by using solar panels.
Yes.
These are the two main elements
Yes.
for climate change by ZF India. Okay.
Among the others, these are the two main elements.
Two main elements, correct. That's very interesting. Now, coming to my next question. What do you think should be the top priority for the auto components industry right now in India? And do you think the companies in the auto component industry, in the auto sector right now, are redefining themselves? The automotive industry, do you think the companies within the industry are redefining themselves now?
Exactly. You see, today, apart from the new trends in terms of electrification, the e-mobility, and then automated driving, etc. Today, another important aspect which is coming up is digitalization, and how do we ensure that today we are as digital as possible. You call it Industry 4.0 or Factory 4.0 or any of those initiatives for that matter. How do we ensure that we are on top of the numbers on a regular matter or at regular intervals? Plus, how do we make sure that we are supporting the industry in this transformation from the traditional internal combustion engines to electrified vehicles? So it is a defining moment. We are at crossroads. We are not very sure as to how the whole thing will pan out, but what is important for us is we need how flexible are we to be sure that we are looking at all these changes. Now you can also see that the government is putting a lot of emphasis on not only on electrification but also on the safety of vehicles. They are putting a lot of emphasis on climate related pollution control related activities by bringing in moving in from BS4 to BS6. You could remember that when this announcement of BS4 to BS6 happened, there was a lot of hue and cry in terms of whether will we be able to meet it. But I think we came out successful in this transformation. Of course, this COVID disturbance during that time did not help it in that way. However, I think the industry came out very well in this conversion, and today we can say that this conversion did not have too many hiccups during that time. So I think the important thing is how does the industry live up to these new changes, how to ensure that the safety on the roads for the not only for the drivers and the co-passengers, but also for the pedestrians and others are being taken care, not by taking measures related to as an after effect, but more from a preventive perspective through various cameras, radars, lidars, etc. So it's a defining moment. The components of today may not be the components of tomorrow. The components of tomorrow, we may not even see it today. So there is going to be a big change, and how each organization will be capable of transforming from today's world to the new world of tomorrow, be it the focus on safety, be it the focus on electrification, or be it in terms of the learnings, the improvements which you are doing from the learnings of the pandemic. I think we need to keep our eyes and ears open. We need to be open to these changes and ensure that we are part and parcel of this transformation. That's critical for us, and hence the leadership of these organizations have to be vigilant to be capable of transforming the organization without creating disruptions for itself.
That's very well put. That's very well put. I'm sure that applying that would, like, if you look at being vigilant and look at transformation in such a way, then that is something that will take the auto component industry very far. That's very well put, I would say. Now coming to my next question is that how is ZF India strategizing its operations towards the changes in mobility? You just talked about transformation. You talked about about change. You talked about change. So then, can you tell us what ZF India is doing or gearing up? How it is gearing up its operations towards the changes in mobility?
So, Julie, what is important is we need to understand that what is happening in Europe and the US are very different from what will happen in India. We know that the traditional well-known technologies are here to stay for some more years. The transformation to electrification, the transformation to automated driving is not going to happen at the same pace at which the Western world is doing. So we need to have a balance in terms of how we do support the industry with the well-known technologies, along with ensuring that the industry gets the partnership from ZF for the new technologies as well. So it's a balancing act we need to do. While for a simple example, it is seen that clutches is a dying product as far as the new markets are or as far as the developed market is concerned. But we know for sure that in India, the clutches will continue for some time because we are not going to get converted into electrified vehicles as fast as the space at the same pace at which Europe does. So we need to protect, we need to support, the industry needs to support the IC engine related products in India, but it may be a dying product in the Western world. So if you look at ZF India, we are looking at a combination of two. One is, how can India be looked at as a revenue market for itself by supplying products? The second part of our strategy is to look at ZF in India as a hub for supporting the other entities across the world, wherein we are looking at creating manufacturing footprints in India to ensure that we are using the best cost manufacturing footprint which is available in the region. We are looking at creating more and more R&D centers in the region to ensure that we are able to capitalize on the talent available in India. We are looking at other possibilities of creating more and more business services to support ZF locations worldwide. So our strategy is twofold. One, use India as a market for ZF products, and use India as a hub for supporting other entities. When we are looking at ZF, looking at India as the market for ZF products, here we are actually supporting all the industries with the well-known technologies. However, we are keeping a very close watch and also are in active engagement with most of the customers in their journey of introduction of new technologies. So we have a combination path where we support the customers with the current technologies, and we are in partnership with them for introducing new technologies of the in the region. And as and when the customers move from the well-known technologies to the new technologies, we would have already become a significant partner, and hence this transformation from the well-known technologies to the new technologies will be with the support of ZF. So basically, in short, ZF looks at India as a revenue market and also as a hub. In the revenue market, we are looking at a healthy combination of supporting the industry with the well-known technologies and partnering them in the introduction of new technologies.
So that's a lot of things put together to create a whole big picture for the country and for the industry and for your company.
Yes.
Okay, so now I would like to ask you about ZF's current state, and like, how do you view ZF's India's performance in the ongoing pandemic? Now, ever since we were sent into lockdown from March last year to right now, how have you seen ZF India's performance and till now? And also, the second part of my question is that how do you see ZF India changing its strategies in the post-COVID era? You just told us the strategies you have right now, but do you see them changing or getting more refined in the post-COVID era?
Let me take the second question first. Actually, we are refining it as we speak. Okay,
Right.
we had a strategy for ourselves in 2018, and we are re-looking at the strategies. And as we today, there is a team which is working on re-looking at the ZF strategies for India and seeing as to what is the need of the hour and how do we incorporate them into the strategy. So while the broad things will remain, the nitty-gritties will change, because now there are aspects related to manufacturing footprint which may get more momentum, or the sourcing from the region for the region, of course, will gather momentum. However, how do we improve our logistics performance, etc., will become critical for us. So there is a initiative going on to relook at the strategy for ZF in India. Coming to the last 1 year's journey, it has been as it is for all the other industries and all the other organizations. It has been a V-shaped curve for us as well. It went from a pre-COVID era, bottomed out somewhere in June, July timeframe, and then it was sort of bouncing back in the Q3 and Q4 of 2020, and Q1 also has continued to see that growth. So now today I am reading that it could be a W growth as well, because of the lockdowns and the curfews which are happening now. However, I think I can only say that the last 1 year has been a satisfying one in spite of all the pressures and the difficulties we faced. If you had asked me in the month of March and April, it was being seen as a very difficult year. However, I think the industry came back, and the resilience of all the organizations really was demonstrated, and we were able to really come out reasonably well if you look in Q3, Q4 of 2020 and Q1 of 2021. I think the learnings from the previous year will really help us to tide through the current scenario as well. So I can only say that given what we went through in March, April last year, looking back, it looks to be a very satisfying year, and I should really congratulate all the industry partners and also the employees to have supported during these difficult times, and without a precedence, and we didn't know how to handle it, and we were handling it as and when we were facing issues. A hybrid model of working, initially working from home, then later a hybrid model of working, and then making sure that the operations are working with a very in a safe environment with physical distancing, ensuring that measuring of temperature in at the time of going into the facility and going out of the facility. These were all unprecedented. We had never done this. Making sure that the transportation is done with all precautions. I think all these things took a good amount of time from the management. However, today we can say that we did a reasonably good job in terms of making sure that the infections or the spreading of pandemic did not happen from the factories. It happened more from their personal lives when people went into the market and other areas. So I can only say that overall, barring the 2 months, March, April, 3 months, March, April, and May, I think it was a great performance. The employees and every individual rose to the occasion, did bite some difficult decisions which we had to take, accepted it, appreciated it, and we came out rather successful if you look at the performance of second half of last year. And I strongly believe that this gives us a lot of confidence. I think I can only say that this gives us a lot of confidence that we should be able to tide through any of such situations, provided we are extremely strong in communication and we are extremely flexible in our approach towards the business.
So it actually comes down to two things mainly, that strong communication and flexibility is so important, not just in any situation, but even not just the COVID-19 pandemic, but any situation for that matter. And the COVID-19 pandemic is a place where these two things helped us tremendously to accept the situation and to overcome it. Even if we haven't completely gotten rid of the pandemic, but still we are passing through it, and like as strong as possible.
Exactly. So that's where we are.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Suresh. It has been a wonderful candid chat with you, and it has been a very informative conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Suresh KV for you. Please don't forget to like and share this interview, and you can follow us on our social media handles of Industriar on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So thank you, Mr. Suresh KV, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you.